Hello friends, how are you? Hope you guys are all well. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today my topic is liquid nitrogen engine, that what it is. So before me turn my topic, I request you to please subscribe my YouTube channel and don't forget to watch my previous videos. So moving to my topic, in response to the changing global landscape, energy has become a primary focus of the major world powers and scientific community. There has been great interest in developing and refining more efficient energy of the storage devices. One such device, the supercapacitors, has matured significantly over the last decade and emerged with a potential to facilitate major advance in energy storage. Supercapacitors, also known as the ultracapacitors, are electrochemical capacitors, utilize high surface area electrode materials and thin electrolytic dielectric to achieve high capacitance, several orders of the magnitude larger than the conventional capacitors. In doing so, supercapacitors are able to attain greater energy densities while still maintaining the characteristics high power density of the conventional supercapacitors. This paper presents a brief overview of the supercapacitor based on the broad survey of the supercapacitor research and development. Following this introduction in the section 2, the background is provided on the fundamentals of the conventional capacitors and for the supercapacitors. Section 3 presents a taxonomy of the supercapacitors, discuss the different classes of such devices, and illustrates how the different classes from a hierarchy of a supercapacitor's energy storage approaches. Then section 4 presents an analysis of the major quantitative modeling research areas concerning the optimization of the supercapacitors. Provides Section 5 provide a prospectus on the future of the supercapacitors R&D. An additional key element of the paper is the bibliography, which is organized by the topic to assist those who might wish to do the further reading and research. Background: conventional capacitors consist of two conducting electrodes separated by an insulating dielectric material. When a voltage is applied to a capacitor, opposite charges accumulate on the surface of each electrode. The charges are kept separate by the dielectric, thus producing an electric field that allows the capacitor to store energy. This is illustrated. Capacitance C is defined as the ratio of the stored charge Q to the applied voltage V. Ratio C is equal to QV. For a conventional capacitor, C is directly proportional to the surface area A for each electrode and inversely proportional to the distance between the electrodes. Okay, the product of the first two factors on the right hand side of each of the last section, our last equation is constant for the proportionality, wherein it is a dielectric constant of the permittivity of free space, and R is the dielectric constant of the insulating material between the electrodes. The two primary attributes of the capacitors are its energy density and the power density. For the either measure, the density can be calculated as the quantitative per unit quantity per unit mass or per unit volume. The energy stored in a capacitor is directly proportional to its capacitance. E is 1 over 2 CV2. In general, the power P is energy expanded per unit time. To determine P for a capacitor, so one must consider the capacitor they are generally represented as a circuit in the series with an external load resistance R as shown in figure 1.3. Okay, after that you can see dielectric field, load resistance. The schematic of the conventional capacitor, the internal components of the capacitors, example current collectors, electrodes, and dielectric material, also contribute to the resistance, which is measured in aggregate by a quantity known as the equivalent series resistance. The voltage during the discharge is determined by the resistance when measured at matched impedance. R is equal to EC ASR. The maximum power P max per capacitor 125, okay, is given by ESR VP cross 42 max. Okay, so time to go. Goodbye. Meet you in the next video.